Hello everyone, my name is Brendan and welcome to another Overwatch video. In this series I will be looking at each character and giving you my opinion on the best way to play them. To kickstart this series I will be talking about Genji. Genji's main form of attack are of course his shurikens. Genji throws 3 shurikens which each do 28 damage, so there's a potential to do 84 damage to the target. If you use your right trigger, you will throw 3 in a direct line, and if you use your left trigger, you will fan them out. Genji also, like all other characters, has a melee ability which does 50 damage. Why would you need to use your melee ability? Well, Genji's passive ability is Cyber Agility, which gives him the ability to climb up walls and to double jump. What this means is that Genji is a perfect character for getting in people's faces. What I suggest doing, above all else, is getting right up to people's faces and stabbing them as much as you can whilst throwing your shurikens. Because people cannot handle people like Genji jumping about them, stabbing them. You know, most characters, they won't be able to catch up. People like Hanzo, who fires 1 arrow at any time, cannot handle Genji up in his face, stabbing him from every side. So, after jumping around and everything as Genji also has a Swift Strike ability, which will charge at the target, dealing 50 damage. Now, what I suggest doing is using Swift Strike as a finisher. After jumping around an enemy, like Hanzo, stabbing him, getting him down to as little health as possible, most characters in that situation will attempt to run away to find a health pack. This is a perfect time for Genji to use Swift Strike, as that can just finish them off on the spot, and then Genji can go off, find someone else, and do the same to them. Swift Strike is also the perfect ability to get out of combat. If you find that you've taken on more enemies than you can handle, you can very easily just Swift Strike up onto a ledge or something, and using Cyber Agility just climb up a wall and run away. This saves so much time, rather than running back from the spawn after dying. You know, you can just get away, get a health pack, and then go back and find someone else to kill. Genji's other ability is Deflect, and many a Bastion are slowly coming to realise that you can't fire at Genji, because if you do, chances are he's going to deflect every bullet back at Bastion and murder him on the spot. Now, this isn't the only thing that Deflect is useful for. Deflect is perfect for characters such as Hanzo. Hanzo, of course, has a super ability where he fires his dragons, and anyone caught in the path will be murdered. What a few people have slowly found out is that if Genji's fighting Hanzo and Hanzo uses his Dragon Strike ability, Genji can deflect the arrow back at Hanzo and essentially take control of his dragon. So how does Genji manage this? Well, what happens is when Hanzo uses Dragon Strike, before it becomes a dragon, it starts as an arrow. If Genji's close enough to Hanzo whilst he's firing Dragon Strike, Genji can deflect the arrow before it becomes a dragon, and then deflect it back at Hanzo, which will most likely kill Hanzo with the arrow before it becomes a dragon, and this then becomes Genji's dragon, and any enemy caught in its path will be murdered. Deflect is also useful for characters such as McCree. With McCree's High Noon, if you manage to time Deflect right, you can deflect High Noon back at McCree, which will more often than not be a one-hit kill. You can also deflect McCree's Stun Grenade. You can deflect Junkrat's C4 bomb thing. You can deflect Tracer's Pulse Bomb. You can deflect May's little freezy robot thing, whatever it's called. You can deflect Pharah's rockets and her barrage, and any sort of projectile can be deflected. So anyone that fires a gun like Soldier 76, you can deflect those back at him and kill him. Junkrat, you can deflect his bombs back at him. Anything that fires a projectile. So this means that characters such as Zarya and Sumatra you can't deflect them because they fire beams. You can't deflect beams back at Zarya, so if you go up against Zarya, chances are you will die. Because you just can't deflect the beams. Sumatra's turrets all shoot beams, and if there's loads in the room, chances are you will die. That's when you need to use Swift Strike, is just to get out of that room that you've just gone into. Now, Genji's final ability is called Dragon Blade. This is where he pulls out his katana. His katana will do 120 damage per swing, and anyone caught will be damaged. What I see a lot of people doing is activating Dragon Blade and then running into a group of enemies and getting slaughtered. This is not what you're meant to do. Genji will not receive an invulnerability when he activates Dragon Blade. You know, he doesn't gain any health or anything like that. He stays the same health. He just has a weapon that does more damage. So what I really suggest doing is picking off enemies that are on the side. You don't need to kill an entire team with Dragon Blade. You only need to kill one. You will only get a chance to kill one or two anyway. Now, when you use Dragon Blade, you can also use your Swift Strike and Deflect abilities as well. So you can Swift Strike at an enemy that's maybe at the side, away from any healers, and swing at them. And instead of doing 50 damage, you'll do 120 because you're using your katana. And you can pick people off. You can also use your Deflect to, again, deflect people like McCree and Pharah and Tracer. And what you really want to do is just pick people off at any time, like people that are probably sniping. So characters like Hanzo, characters like Widowmaker, they'll most likely be up on a ledge or something away from the rest of the group. That's the perfect time for Genji to use his Dragon Blade, is just to pick those people off. So what are my recommendations? Well, what I recommend doing if anyone plays Genji is just getting up in people's faces. Just get right in there, jump around and move around as much as possible, climb up the walls, you know, climb up a wall, jump back off and stab people, all that sort of stuff. Use your melee as much as you can because that's 50 damage. Chances are your shurikens will not land every shot, so that's only 28 damage per shuriken that you land. Say if you only land one, that's 28 damage. If you use your melee, that's 50 damage, full stop. Obviously melee is going to do better in that situation. So you want to be jumping around, you want to be melee attacking them, you want to throw your shurikens when you get a chance, and you want to Swift Strike when they try to run away, because chances are they're going to run away. They want to find a health pack before they die. That's when you use your Swift Strike as just a finisher. Swift Strike should also be used as a get out of combat ability. You know, if you find yourself surrounded by enemies, use a Swift Strike, go back to your team, go back to your healer, and you want to be using Deflect as much as possible, because just about everything can be deflected. Bastion especially is starting to realise that Deflect is the most annoying ability when you're playing as Bastion. When you get Dragon Blade, again, you want to be up in people's faces, but you want to be picking people off. You don't want to be in the middle of the group, because chances are you will die. You've only got 200 health points, chances are you will die. So you want to be picking people off at the side, making the most of your cyber agility, making the most of your Swift Strike and your Deflect, and just, yeah, picking people off. That's the end of this video. If you did enjoy this, please give it a like and subscribe for more Overwatch news. You can also follow me on Twitter @Brendan, and I'll catch you in the next one.